So as many of you know, the reason that I have not been filming videos lately is because I have been on a trip to Boston, and I did make one vlog on my trip, and I mentioned that that's probably the only vlog I'll be able to make, but I haven't really been discussing why I could not be making videos there or what I was doing, because while I was on the trip, I felt like doing that would be kind of an invasion of my privacy, but now that I am no longer on the trip, I feel comfortable talking about the trip with you guys. And I do have some interesting stories from it. But the first thing I would like to do was on that one vlog I made when I went on the Freedom Trail, I mentioned how I got a snow globe, but I couldn't show it to you because it was in my mom's backpack. So I did just want to show you my snow globe and then all the snow coming down. I think that it is a cute snow globe and a nice souvenir from going to Boston, and I just wanted to show you guys. Also, one thing a lot of you are probably wondering is why I decided to do this video in the split. It is because I made one video in the splits in the past where I was just saying some things that you guys didn't know about me, and it ended up being one of my most popular videos, which really surprised me. So I figured that maybe you guys like seeing videos in the splits. I don't know. I just wanted to try something because just holding the splits is pretty easy for me. So yeah, when I got there, we all had roommates. So how the rooms work was there'd be one room that was a suite with 6 people in it. However, within that suite, there would be 4 rooms. So, no, there would be 3 rooms. I don't know why I said 4. I was being dumb. So then there would be 2 people in each room together, but that would just be a really small bedroom. But then in the whole room, there would be 6 people. And when I started there, the girl who I roomed with had apparently actually been on Broadway, which I thought was pretty sus, but then I looked up her name and it was true, she had. And I don't really want to say her name because, firstly, I don't know how to pronounce her second name. Secondly, I did not get any permission from her to be in this video. She doesn't even know I make videos. And thirdly, as I will get into later, she was kind of shady towards me, so I don't really want to bring any extra publicity to her name. But also, one thing that was kind of funny was, basically at Model UN, I wish I brought mine, we all got these placards where basically it's kind of like a name tag, but it will say the name of the country that you are representing. And in the camp, we did 3 practice conferences, so then we got, 3 different placards. But at the end, on the last one, the instructor said, like, oh, you guys can have other people sign your placards if you want. And it was just kind of like signing yearbooks. It was pretty fun. A lot of people signed each other's. So you could either just write your name, like if it was me, I could have just written, oh yeah, I brought a whiteboard because I thought I might want to draw. You could have either just written your name, like for me, it could have been Sarah, or a message, like, have a good summer, and then at the end say your name. And I have been wearing these clips lately that I'm just gonna get up close so that you can see them. They're bows, and what she wrote for mine, because I had her sign my placard, I think it was, hey Sarah, you're really cool. Also, I really love your butterfly hair clips. And it was a nice message, but I do just think it's kind of funny that she said she loves my hair clips, but she didn't know that they were bows. And now I'm just erasing this. So yeah, she wasn't super mean to me or anything, but I do feel like some kids in the group, including her, would kind of exclude me from a lot of the things we were doing, and also there was one conference where basically, I'm pretty sure the topic, I don't actually remember the topic for this one because we had a bunch, but basically I was France, and a lot of the people in my old roommate were in this regional block in Model UN. It's called Western Europe and Others, which I think is kind of funny because America is in that block, so is Canada and Australia, and we're just in the others, which I think is pretty funny. And basically, people in a regional block in Model UN will generally work together, and also for at least the Western Europe and Others group, a lot of the people in their regional group, well, not people, countries, I guess, are pretty allied. And in Model UN, you basically have to write resolutions to problems, and the people you will work with are not supposed to be the people you like, but people countries would realistically work with. And they just completely excluded me from their group. I tried talking to them, but they would all just completely ignore me. So then, eventually, I tried talking to the girl who was representing China, because a lot of people were ignoring her too, and China was one of my friends. And then later, this boy who was representing Brazil, he had a pretty big block, so then he invited us to join his block, which was pretty nice. But yeah, for my resolution group, I don't remember all the countries, it was pretty big, but instead of being allowed to work with countries like Germany and United Kingdom, Canada, America, all of those, I was working with China, Brazil, and some other countries. I don't remember exactly which ones they were. Oh yeah, I know Russia was also in our group. So I did just feel kind of excluded. And also there was one time where my friends were in another group, so I went over to their room to hang out with them. But then at the end, they wanted to come to my room just to say bye to me, kind of. I don't actually know why they were coming, because the reason I was going back to my room was because I wanted to go take a shower, but I guess they just wanted to talk to me a little more. But then they were still there for a few minutes after I had gotten in the shower, and since a lot of the other girls in my room were hanging out with each other and talking with each other, they decided that they wanted to hang out in my room for a few minutes. But apparently the girl I was rooming with was being kind of rude to them about it, was like, oh, you guys just can't go into my room. Well, they weren't saying it explicitly to her, but they were in kind of the main room of the suite, so they heard her talking with the other girls about how bad it was that they were going into my room and just being kind of rude about it. And then also, one thing that happened the next day is, in case any of you guys don't know, I do have medical issues, so sometimes I have medical alarms that go off in the middle of the night, and that did happen. So she went up to the adults that were in charge of the camp and said that she didn't like rooming with me. What they just told me, the adults, was that they just didn't like it that I have alarms that go off in the middle of the night. But I do just think it's kind of rude that she said that she didn't like rooming with me, but it actually worked out really well, because for my two friends, they were in a suite all by themselves, so then I could join a room with them, and then we ended up having a lot of fun together. And then I just left the old room, so I didn't really have to deal with them anymore. But then, luckily, on the last day of camp, the girl I was rooming with was actually pretty nice to me. As I mentioned before, she saw my placard and wrote a nice message. And also on the last conference, I was Canada and she was United Kingdom. And she did actually include me and work with me in the last group. And also at the very end of the last day, so before I was calling Friday the last day, because Friday was the last day of camp, and then on Saturday was when our parents were picking us up, so I guess Saturday was technically the last day. A lot of us were playing Mafia, And I got this card that's called the Joker, and in case you guys have never played Mafia with the Joker, basically the Joker just tries to act super sus and wins if they get voted out. And I got voted out, so a lot of people, including her, were congratulating me a lot, so that was pretty nice. She wasn't super mean, she was just kind of rude to me a bit in the beginning. And then also, some fun times at the camp was on the last day when we were just in our room together. I was singing karaoke songs with the other two girls that were in my last suite. I'm not going to say their names either because, again, I did not tell them about this video. I'm just going to call them K and V because I probably will talk about them a bit. And we played karaoke together and just sang a bunch of songs, and I learned some songs from them. I do not know very many songs, and that was fun. And also, another thing that happened during the camp was one of our instructors was going into her senior year at Boston University, and she gave us a tour of the campus, which was pretty fun. And next to the mascot, basically at Boston University, there's this big bench, and then sort of in the middle of the bench is the mascot in it. And I took a picture with K and V, with the three of us sitting on the bench by the mascot. I would show it to you guys, but again, it has both of them in it, and they did not give me permission to post that photo, and I'm pretty sure neither of them even have public social medias, so I wouldn't do that. And I'm just trying to think of something because I know that there are a lot of stories from camp. Oh yeah, but then also another nice thing that someone did was, this was one of the girls from my old room. Some of them were nice to me, some of them weren't. Well, I wouldn't say anyone was straight up mean to me, but some of them just didn't really seem to like me. So I had her sign my placard, and she gave me her phone number and was like, oh, in case you ever want to talk to me. And I thought that was really nice, especially because I did like her, so I probably will try to text her later today. And another thing that I did like about the Model UN camp is, one thing I have always had a bit of an interest in is just other countries, and that's one of the reasons that my mom thought it would be fun if I tried Model UN. And it's not really something I've met other people with an interest in. For example, I've met very few people who even know what Turkmenistan is, for example, but then I was talking with these two other guys, and one of them, he really knew a ton about a bunch of different countries, which I found really impressive because he knew a lot more than I did. He knows the names of like provinces and areas in Uzbekistan and a lot about Tajikistan and just a lot about a bunch of different countries in general, which I found pretty cool. And then I did just mention to him that, oh yeah, I think that it's pretty cool that you just know so much about different countries, because that is a little bit of an interest that I have, just looking to some small different countries. I just think it's kind of interesting to learn about countries that are different to the United States a little bit. It's not a huge interest I have, just a small one. And I mentioned how I do know a bit about Turkmenistan, mainly just the government structure, and I've seen a bunch of videos comparing Turkmenistan to North Korea, and I'd personally say they're pretty different, but I do get why people compare them a lot. But then when I mentioned I knew about Turkmenistan, the other guy in the group started talking about this type of horses in Turkmenistan. This sort of wants to start a conversation about them with me, and I was just like, oh wow. I don't really know much about the horses there. I just know a bit about their government structure and how that works. So yeah, I just thought it was cool that that's not really an interest that I've met anyone else with having, and I met some people who are actually a lot more interested in that than I am. And yeah, I really liked the camp. For the most part, everyone was really nice. For the girl I was first rooming with, I did say that she was kind of mean to me at first, but then she never was explicitly mean to me. I just kind of felt like she didn't like me, and then at the end, she was nice to me, so yeah, I just really enjoyed the camp in general. Oh yeah, and then on the last day, since we got out in the morning, I did get to do some more touring in Boston. I might make a vlog showing stuff, but I don't know, I also might not, because it would take a lot of editing. But yeah, that was all of my experience at camp. Bye.